circuidistas, culateros, abanicadores, gallos ciegos, miromistas.
Fabian Bielinski's Night Queens is an Argentinian film released in 2000 during a period when the state underwent a severe economic crisis. The plot focuses on two con artists who meet at a convenience store. The more experienced swindler Marcos asks the seemingly rookie con artist Juan to be his partner. Marcos' old partner gives them an opportunity to sell forgeries of valuable stamps called Night Queens to a Spanish businessman. The forgeries are robbed after they made a deal with the businessman, and they decide to buy the real stamps. In the end, we learn that the real victim of the scam is Marcos, who spends 200,000 on real stamps but gets a check that can't cash. Juan and his group accomplish this because they get a tip about the bank's closing in advance. The film's narrative belongs to the spectrum of the crime movie genre. However, the film does not portray any physical violence. It often exists in crime films. The film is parallel to the scam movie or con artist film genre, which often involves swindlers who trick others in order to gain material wealth. Night Queens is a story about trick and being tricked. There is a tension of uncertainty and distrust around the main characters. The plot is rich with narrative reversals. A character can be a cop at one point but shifts to a Confederate at the next scene. This kind of instability and uncertainty is not only a narrative device to move the plot, but also a metaphor of Argentina's economic state. The movie is made during 1990s, a period when the country adopted neoliberal economic policies and participated in the larger globalization process. In the beginning of the movie, Marcos reads the wrapper of a chocolate bar and makes his comments on globalization.
Crunchy. Elaborado en Grecia. Este país se va a la mierda.
The setting of the film is in the state's capital, Buenos Aires. The ambient sound of the traffic shows a bustling urban environment. The city is a place reflects the country's attempt to build a global Argentina. An important space in the city is the International Hotel, where the Spanish businessman lives. The fact that this made-up character who takes advantage of the state's economic state can trick Marcos indicates that people like Vida are common in the country. They benefit from the neoliberal policies and the privatized economy, while Marcos is lost and deceived in the fancy hotel, a privileged space of flow of capital and foreign investors. Later in the film, Marcos gets a bank check for the stamps he sells, but the bank's board has taken away all of the savings. The scene when people gather and try to get back their money prefigures the street demonstrations in 2001 when citizens protest against the corrupted politicians and bankers who lead to the financial crisis. The critique of the government's corruption is also implied in Marcos and Juan's conversation.
Ministro.
In addition, the film borrows narrative elements from Hollywood scam movies but incorporates unique aesthetics of its own. Unlike most scam films which are formalistic, the film's image looks natural and authentic. According to an interview, the director Fabian Bielinski told the director of photography, Marcelo Camarino, to use natural lighting where possible and to employ hidden cameras in some of the street scenes. The movie's naturalistic aesthetic is illustrated in the scene when Marcos and Juan walk in a subway tunnel. The director uses a long take, following them, and we've seen people passing around and just break into the frame and leave. This naturalistic approach adds a sense of authenticity and spontaneousness of the image, and also shows the fast-paced urban environment. In many scenes on streets, the director uses long shots and hidden cameras as the audience are observing the situation from a distance. The movie's aesthetic renders the audience not to identify with any character easily, and the frame gives place to show the surrounding environment of the characters. This is a reminder that the story is situated in the state's social and economic status. An example is when Marcos and Juan arrive at the bank, and the camera tells up. We see a high-angle shot of Marcos running to the bank and try to squeeze into the crowd. The camera's angle makes the viewer feel that Marcos is smaller and unimportant. He is only one victim of the corruption and economic crisis, and he is in parallel with the other bank customers who are tricked by the bank. The camera indicates that Marcos' experience of loss is universal. The central plot of being tricked not only happens to the con artist Marcos, but also applies to the common people in Argentina. In conclusion, Fabian Bielinski's Night Queens is an interesting film on Argentina's economic crisis. The use of many twists in the plot makes the story more approachable to the general audience. The director capitalizes on conventions from the Hollywood scam movie genre and incorporates Latin American context to the movie. Being swindled in the film is a metaphor of the social experience under Argentina's neoliberal policies and corruption during the 1990s. The movie's subversion of the traditional scam movie's aesthetics is noteworthy. By using on-location shooting, natural lights, and cinema verite techniques, the movie attempts to represent an aesthetic experience of loss during the financial crisis in Argentina.